This t-shirt is a t-shirt that belonged to my Uncle Jim. And my Uncle Jim, I can really blame him for a lot of my personality, my interests, and many of the things that I still do today. He was a supportive and constant influence in my life. He was there for a lot of my teen years leading into my young adult life. In August of 2017, I took a brand new step of faith, really a leap. I moved to Charleston, West Virginia, and left my comfortable, safe life to start a new job as a youth pastor at this place called Southridge Church. I felt the love of my family as they reluctantly supported me in this new adventure, including the love and support of my Uncle Jim. He ended up passing away just a few weeks after I had made this transition that was already really difficult. In John chapter 11, we see the sibling group of Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, who had known Jesus personally. I mean, he was like a friend, so close it was like family. At this point in John chapter 11, this family is going through something really terrible. Lazarus has died. Their community is grieved. And it's understandable how Martha and then Mary question whether or not the situation would have changed if Jesus had just been there. But then Jesus says something to Martha. He tells her, "I am the resurrection and the life." Martha, she finds comfort in this, but not to the extent that maybe we would assume being on this side of the story. But when Jesus said that, he was speaking of what will come in his resurrection story. Because we know that the story of Lazarus is just echoing the story of Jesus and what will come out of Jesus's life and death and resurrection. But as Jesus hears and feels the emotions surrounding the death of Lazarus, Jesus does something that we often overlook or only talk about when we ask, what's the shortest verse in the Bible? Jesus cries. Jesus is heartbroken. And as real as Jesus's presence was with that family and that community then, his presence was real with me too in 2017, in my loss and my grief. And I had trusted Jesus, and I took this leap of faith, and then I questioned it. I questioned what God was doing with my life because I suddenly was met with so much grief and sorrow and doubts about what was going on in my faith journey. But just like Martha and Mary, I found out that Jesus is the true Messiah, God with us in our sorrow, in our grief, in our loss. He's there. For Lazarus, though, there's a story shift because what Jesus does is a miracle. He gives Lazarus a new life. Now, this is exciting, but not nearly as exciting as what Jesus is going to do with the new life that God restores in him, being the gateway to a whole new creation opened up to you and to me through Jesus's life and death and resurrection. And through Jesus's new life, we get to trade in our bitter tears and our dark nights for joy and for light that can start now and last forever. So what's next? Well, I've got two things for you. First, get honest about your grief. God knows it's time for you to be honest with yourself. God knows it's time for you to be honest about it. And second, get real with the real Jesus. The real Jesus who weeps when we weep, who celebrates when we celebrate, who knows you and offers you a new life now and forever.